Back with another video. The dragon. Topic of today's video is going to be treating the symptoms versus the root cause of your issue. I think this concept can be applied to everything in life, truly, but for all intents and purposes, obviously we're going to be using herniated disc. So I'm going to provide some examples of my experience with herniated disc when I first had it, and also the reoccurring herniated disc, which is what I'm currently dealing with, and am taking the necessary steps to get back to full strength. So if this is something that resonates with the audience, something that you guys have also experienced, let me know in the comments. I believe that when you go through let's say the medical side of things, meeting with your doctor or primary care physician, I think it's a very fractured experience of how things are done, in my humble opinion. Meaning, I believe that you go in, you get diagnosed based off entirely of your symptoms. There's some imaging, whether it's x-rays or MRIs, and then after that, it's all about pain management or surgical intervention. Sure, sometimes they'll give you some PT intervention, but I think for the most part, even in those facilities, there's not much going on in terms of, okay, this is how this person's moving. This is some weaknesses that they're having. It's more of like a churn and burn. You're on a conveyor belt. We're trying to get you in and out, make that money, and on to the next person. At least that's been my experience. I believe that if you are looking for immediate relief from the symptoms, you are setting yourself up for a long road ahead of both recovery, and you're setting yourself up for potentially more instances of reherniation at a later point of your life. So I had wished that I probably had seen this video that I'm making currently for the audience when I was initially in this phase. But because I've went through this phase, this is my second go around, I feel very confident in being able to come back to 100% post-injury, given everything that I know now. So, number one, if you fix your herniated disc surgically, right, you are simply removing, hopefully, the pain as it applies to said injury. Does that mean that you as the individual could theoretically be in the same position in 6 months to a year? Yes. Why? Because you have opted for the removal of the pain, but you're not relearning how to actually properly move, right? I think the reason that back health or back issues are so prevalent in modern society is because of all the things that we have to do in terms of sitting, driving, stress, nutrition, sleep, stress. All of these are factors that contribute to overall health and also lower back health. So by simply removing the pain that basically the signal that your body was telling you that you are doing something wrong and have been doing something wrong for a great deal of time, where is the learning by having the surgery and then removing that pain if you're lucky? A lot of people get out and they still were in pain. Me, case example, I was still in pain after my microdiscectomy nearly 8 to 10 years ago. I had to relearn how to actually move to be successful and be able to combat these injuries. I remember being in there for the first time, they told me I'd never lift again. Well, obviously, based off of all of my videos that I've sent out via Instagram, social media, or even YouTube, I've kind of proven that wrong. Versus the person who's going to read up on the injury, okay, relearn how to move properly, stay away from things that are exacerbating or picking the scab, as they say, in their herniated disc, and obviously making significant changes, holistic changes in their lifestyle that's going to allow them to get out of this environment that's consistent inflammation. That's the person that's going to be successful. So if you're watching this video and you're going through these issues, again, do your due diligence in terms of learning as much as you possibly can. If that is an issue in terms of you don't have the time, you don't have the want to do those things, my biggest suggestion is work with somebody who's done that before. There are a lot of great coaching options available. I think they're all very priced efficiently, depending on who you're speaking to. And this is an age of learning, right? That would be the number one feedback I would say for today's video is, I think the amount of information out there is somewhat overwhelming. There's a lot of mixed ideas around mobility as it applies to spinal health. Is stiffness better? Is more mobility better? I think that's still up in the air depending on the individual and what their goals are. So without going down that rabbit hole, I would just say being pain-free is something that is not impossible if you do the work necessary. There is no free lunch, okay? If you want to get it in and out and you are primarily concerned with the longevity of how you're going to operate as an individual for the rest of your life, maybe really critically analyze whether or not surgery is the best route for you, depending on your situation, and then make that decision for you. That is all for today's video. Dragon House.